Yeah, welcome everyone. Good evening, Jakarta time, and good afternoon in Berlin and also London. I'm Rusmin Lawin with my colleague Ramon. We initiate one property and tech webinar named the Eagles of Real Estate. Okay, so our mission is to promote global real estate and also property that can prop up can be the locomotive of the world industry, because we believe that the real estate industry is very important. It's locomotive of the economies in everywhere, because it's comprising of 174 downstream industry. It means if your real estate industry active in your country, it means your country is growing. That's the parameter. Okay, I would like to introduce my colleague of mine, Ramon Riera from Aerofincas International, based in Spain, Barcelona, Spain. And also we have Leo Lu from Hong Kong. He's a founder of Asia PropTech. It's very active PropTech community in Hong Kong and Asia. We have Raport Owen from QConnect Asia. Raport is going to have a big conference in Singapore next March. We also have Mr. Ilham Habibi. Mr. Ilham Habibi is very unique person. He is a doctor from this Technical University of Munich. He was born in Aachen, actually, in German, Thomas. So okay, so the funniest thing is about Bang Ilham, I call him, because when he just arrived in Indonesia, he learns how to speak Indonesia, because he used to speak Germany when he was born. So he has to learn Indonesia for I think 2 years. So it's a vice versa. And Mr. Ilham Abin now is a global entrepreneur. He has a lot of various kind of industry, property, I think mining as well. And also he has a bank. He just recently just take over one bank. It's a Syariah bank. And also he initiated actually our aerospace industry to develop RXT. He will tell you later about RXT, because RXT is designed by our late the third president of Indonesia, Mr. Professor B.J. Habibie, my idol, my idol as well. And he will tell the specification of the industry and how the drones development today in the world. We have a very unique guy, Thomas Gorski. Thomas Gorski is the inventor of this the A-Team. A-Team is a platform for a real estate player to use to do mapping, to do survey, and others are purpose using drone. So Thomas Gorski will tell us more about how actually drone can help us to make our real estate business easier and also more efficient and effective. Okay, and I will pass the floor to Ramon Riera. Ramon, you please say something about Aerofincas and also property in Europe.
Yes, thank you very much for your words. Aerofincas is a family company. Work in real estate from 1987. It's a family business. It's having a great team. For us, it's very important the code of ethics, and our property always is a customer satisfaction, and our goal is Spanish real estate internationalization. Our highlight, leading real estate innovation and digitalization, and sustainability and environmental awareness, collaboration with NGOs. Our service, property sales rentals, property management, asset management, property valuation, real estate personal shopper, Spanish Golden Visa, investment consultancy, real estate legal advice, and home and rental insurance. But I want to speak 2 minutes about Spain. You know that Spain last year was a second country and to receive tourist people. The second country, okay, after USA. Spain have good weather, good gastronomy, good infrastructures, have a good international airports, Madrid, Barcelona, have an amazing high-speed train, have a good quality of life, and also have the two top 10 business school in Spain. And now, in this pandemic, I think so Spain is a great opportunity for the investors. Why great opportunity? For two things. In different areas of Spain, in the coast, in the overseas, in the cities as Barcelona, as Madrid, now we have big opportunities because the price down approximately 50%. And also is important for the international investors is the financial, because the banks have a lot of money, and for example, in the international people want to buy in Spain, the financial is still 70%. It's a good news for the international investors. Now Spain is a great opportunity for the investors, not only for the residential, also for logistic, also for retail, also for another build rent, also students, residents, etc., etc. If you want to buy and if you want to have a good opportunity, and you have a good value in the next years, you have to study, and it's possible to buy in Spain. And Eurofincas at this moment is a good tool for all international investors, because we have a big experience, and also a big knowledge about not only the market, also the more important, the finance, the banks, because you think that, for example, the interest here in Spain is an Euribor more 1.5. Euribor now is less, no it's more, it's less. And if you want to fix interest, is 2.5. It's very down to finance the buyer properties in Spain. No, it's a great opportunity. And also, if you want to have a residence in Spain and in the European community, if you buy properties more than 500,000, you can one possibility for to have a golden visa. Golden visa is very easy if you buy properties after 200,000 euros. If you know more details, I can give my mail, and sure, and for me it's fantastic to do my mail, and to do more answers respect the people want to buy Spain. Spain is a great opportunity, because Spain is a great and a big country for the tourists and for the people want to live here, because we have a good weather, good gastronomy, and good health also, good health hospitals, and the COVID at this moment is every time less. At this moment, I think so. The health authorities have a control about the pandemic. Don't forget Spain, because it's possible that Spain in the future will be your house. Thank you very much for your attention.
Ya, muchas gracias, mi hermano Ramon Wiratoroba. Then we move to Leo. Leo, as a founder of Asia PropTech, would you like to highlight something about the PropTech and especially the drone development in Asia and Hong Kong?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rusman. And yeah, it's Leo Low of Asia PropTech. We are probably the first PropTech dedicated community fund in Asia Pacific region, and we closely work with other real estate players, other prop tech players, real estate investors around the world who are keen on the innovation in the real estate and construction industry. So today I'm very happy because of Rusmin. I think this webinar is our second webinar, right, of the
Yeah.
International Real Estate Webinar Series. And today's topic is so exciting because, honestly speaking, I didn't cover drones in our previous webinar. So yeah, I look forward to the amazing speakers to tell us more about the usage of, especially in the real estate and construction industry. I strongly believe that if drones can be used along with, say, AI or data analytics, that would be great to the real estate industry. So yeah, if you guys, if the participants have any questions about our ecosystem, including our Asia PropTech coverage in Asia Pacific region, just let me know, private message me, or just go to Rusmin, because Rusmin is also our ambassador of Asia PropTech. So yeah, I look forward to an exciting discussion tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Leo. Of course, we believe that the drone is one of the future of the real estate industry.
Yeah, sure.
Especially when drones connect to AI and others features like IoT as well. Okay, we have Robert Owen. Robert Owen is from London. He's from GeoConnect Asia. We would like to please Robert Owen to say some highlights. Please, Robert.
Rusmin, thank you so much. Just a quick warning light. Our friend Thomas in Berlin has had a fire alarm go off in his property, and we might need to switch the speakers around, so Ilham might have to come after me. But I'll keep you informed on that one.
Yes.
That is the least expected of today's opportunities. But thank you very much. GeoConnect Asia is a new platform for the geospatial industry for location intelligence, digital construction, and drones. We're basically bringing together partners in the industry from geospatial agencies, from real estate, infrastructure, development companies, everybody who can use data which is being generated from all sources at the moment in terms of using that for better planning, better processing, and better information decision making. So the platform basically, as we all know, meetings are a very rarefied opportunity at the moment around the world. We are very hopeful that next month we will be able to officially announce GeoConnect Asia as a hybrid event, which will comprise an audience of 2,200 in person in Singapore over 2 days on the 24th and 25th of March. And we'll have more than 50 speakers in person, but also supported by a virtual platform. So everybody can attend, but we're very keen to make this an event for the ASEAN countries, so the Southeast Asian countries. And we've been getting great support. We're working with Leo and Asia PropTech amongst many organizations, FIABSI, APSFIG, IQSI in Indonesia. And we want to welcome any companies from Indonesia who might be interested in meeting their friends in the ASEAN community as a part of a matchmaking process over the 2 days. So we're working on individual arrangements for both visitors, delegates, exhibitors to come to Singapore in March. Full details are evolving as I talk, but we're very excited to bring together a community in a brand new event, and hope everybody will be able to join us. The website geoconnectasia.com is the best place to find me, but also to find more about our ambitions for the event. And we're very much looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, Rusmin.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Please put note, because GeoConnect will be in Singapore in March. In Singapore.
24th and 25th of March. And just to let you know, Rusmin, Thomas will be ready in 5 minutes for his presentation.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert, because we are going to proceed to Dr. Ilham Akbar Habibi, our aerospace industrial expert that owns his drone development company in Indonesia. Please, Bang Ilham, please. The floor is yours. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rusmin.
Yeah.
for your kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor, it's a pleasure to speak in front of all of you. I'm a bit different guy. Yes, I am also in property, but really my soul and my professional background is all about aerospace or aeronautics, to be precise. So I'm trying to give you a little overview about drone technology, not in order not to overlap with what Thomas is going to talk about. He's going to be more specific, I believe, about the application in the property sector. But I'll give you a total overview. Where are we right now regarding drones in general, and where do we want to go in the future? Do you have the presentation, Rusmin, or should I share my screen?
It's better share your screen, Bang, because
Okay.
you are the speaker. Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I share my screen, not a problem. Okay, do you see it? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
So, okay, now on the second slide, you see the second slide here?
Yep.
Okay, this is just definitions. I mean, sometimes we stumble upon different terminologies, different names for the same thing. Some people call drones UAVs, RPAS, UAS, but it's in the end all the same thing. Yeah, so almost very similar. So on the third page, you see basically the types of drones you can see we can have right now. There's the so-called multi-rotor helicopter, the single rotor helicopter, real airplanes, powered lift, meaning you basically don't have a wing, but you have the rotor for creating the lift. And then you have a propeller to basically push or pull the airplane forward. And then you have actually also airships like Zeppelins that can also be classified as drones, and they can fulfill the same purpose. So on the fourth slide, you see basically the drone market. Right now, if you look at the circle in the left upper corner, you see that today, the drone market is actually dominated by military applications. However, if you look at the overall market of the drones, we will have to expect that the commercial drone market will be driving the industry forward. So not the consumer, that is what we see right now. A lot of hobbyists that like to play with the drones and use it for their own pleasures and for their own interest. It's not the military, but usually doing it for surveillance, in some cases even for more severe scenarios. But it's actually the commercial drone, and I'm going to talk about it later. On the lower right corner, you see basically the expected development. On the left green chart, you see the light green is basically Europe, and the dark green is US. And you see the number of drones to be expected in the thousands. It means in the year 2030, we will have to deal with around about 1 million drones altogether. And the market for the drone product is just, you can see, exploding, particularly in the next 10 years. But even after 2030, both in the US and in Europe, we will see very explosive growth. Now on the fourth slide here, this is what I like to explain to you regarding commercial drones. Commercial means basically we have value-added services, business to business or business to consumer business models. And where the money is, you can see that 48% of, if you talk about the overall drone market, will be in those services. Then basically the piloting, the operations is another 25%. So these two alone are already 75%, three-quarter of the total business in the drone universe are basically created by the value-added services and by basically piloting and operating those drones. Maintenance is another 30%, but the design, sales, and marketing, the assembly and production is actually very little. So it is, if you want to go into drone services and into the drone business, it's better to use what there is in the market, look at what kind of drones do we already have, and try to build a service around it. Whatever the service is, and I think what we want to talk about today, and that will be conveyed later by Thomas, is actually what kind of services can be envisioned when you talk about property. So the advantage for the drones in the industry, that's in the next slide here. You can see, first of all, you're talking about a service where you can actually avoid or minimize human entry. And if at all, then the human intervention can be actually minimized. So you can increase safety. At the same time, also replacing manual inspection with the drones that happens, for instance, with tanks in the oil and gas industry, very large tanks. I mean, you can fly with a small drone within those tanks and basically have less downtime because you have a more regular inspection and therefore can minimize downtime of the equipment that is inspected by those drones. And of course, you have cost savings, less downtime, fewer people involved, and you do the job actually much faster. So on the next slide, you see the market generated by UAVs. This is actually what happened in the last 4 years. And that is, you can see by far the biggest portion of the business and civil government sector is in the construction business related to property. So you see, this is really a big chunk. You can say that more than half, 60, 70% of that is in construction. Only agriculture is another one. Just imagine drone spraying, fertilizer, or anti the disease pesticides on the crop or on the fields. That all is done by agriculture. Insurance claims is another that might be related to construction or to property. In order to see whether a claim is really worth pursuing or worth paying, you have to really see what has happened there, and you can do those inspections quite fast, quite cost efficient with drones. Then on the commercial use cases of drones, there's quite a lot, and you can see here just as 5 examples. We can do 3D mapping, so you do basically something like scanning with the drones and convert the data points that you have accumulated with the drone and the camera into a 3D model. For that, AI can be used in order to filter good data from bad data and to create a valid model that is, I think, particularly interesting if you talk about buildings that have been created in the pre-digital area, in the analog area, and you want to have a digital model to basically modify the building or to add something to it or to even build a second one like that. For that, it's good to have a 3D digital model, and that is for that use, you can use Aikido drones. Delivery, of course, I think is another thing. Everybody's always dreaming of delivery of pizza and hamburger. I think, Rusmin, you mentioned something like that already, that maybe, Thomas can later get some deliveries of, give us some deliveries of hamburgers, maybe not from Berlin to Jakarta, but at least within Berlin, right? And then video collection, data transmission is another one that is, I think, feasible. So in general, and the next slide, you can see these are the types of industries that can benefit by drone technology. And just tell me what is not benefiting by drone technology. It's really almost everything, and I don't want to go into detail and read one by one. Now let's talk a little bit about the drones themselves. I mean, how do we classify drones? Well, you classify them by weight, by endurance and range. You can classify them by how high they can fly, and of course, lastly, by the sheer size of it. And I don't want to go into detail, but you see that there's a lot of military drones. There's the very famous Global Hawk, which is a super heavy drone with 2,000 kilogram weight. And the Predator is also a military drone. It can fly more than 24 hours. So you can imagine that drone technology still has a long way to go. I mean, 24 hours is actually not a lot of time. There are airplanes that can fly for weeks or at least days, but and they can refuel in air, etc. So basically, there's still a lot of leeway in order to develop drones. An important technology we need to be aware about is what kind of engines do we actually use. As you can see on the next slide, there's all kinds of engines possible. You use a rotary engine. That is actually a German development by a gentleman called Mr. Wankel. And so it's a Wankel. And then you have turbofans, basically a jet with a big propeller around it, or a fan. Then a turboprop, also another turbo machine, but only with the propeller, which has less blades. And then you have the good old piston engine. And lastly, of course, you have electric engines. Electric engines have the benefit that there are, of course, no emissions, but on the other hand, they have usually a very relatively low endurance because of the battery challenge that is related to the electric engine. Then talking about the autonomous drones, this is a holy grail. I mean, everybody wants a drone to be functioning by itself, and you can see there's different levels of autonomy from level 0, basically with no autonomy, to level 5, which is completely fully autonomous. At the moment, technology between 3 and 4. So you can see that 3 means the craft or the drone operates autonomously under certain conditions, but the pilot must monitor its progress. Or the drone is autonomous in most situations, and the pilot can take over, but generally doesn't have to. So there we are right now. I can envision in a couple of years, and this is another thing where artificial intelligence can come into play. If the artificial intelligence can help the drone in order to be seeing and understanding situations as they are, come faster and react instantly that would be a really fully autonomous drone. And we haven't really seen cars autonomously operating in our environment yet. A drone is even more complicated because of the added dimensions of the flight path. And the challenges, what kind of a challenge do we have here? Well, it's not only about cost reduction, but we have to actually manage complex, unpredictable situations, handle adverse weather. We have to increase travel distances and carrying capacities, the so-called payload. How much can you actually carry with a drone? Usually we are now in the range between 100 and 200 kilograms. There are some selected drones which can actually lift more than 1,000 kilograms, but this is more the exception than the rule. But there's a lot of improvement, and you do actually improve these things by improving aerodynamics and reducing weight overall, and the propulsion system, whether electric or the conventional, is actually playing a very, very important role. So now let's talk maybe 2 more slides about how do we look at the case in Indonesia. What does it look like here? We do have drone development in Indonesia as well. There is something by Lapan that's in the middle. That's the Indonesian NASA. There is a drone called Lapan LSU-02. It's for surveillance. Then the PTTA consortium, which is basically Ministry of Defense. And it's not really a male, but it's a medium altitude, long endurance. Yeah, so it's not male versus female, but it's a abbreviation. So that kind of a drone has been developed for endurance of about 30 hours and 23,000 feet altitude. And this is also for for surveillance and maybe not for interception yet. And on the private sector, on the right-hand side, there's a collaboration between Indonesian NASA, Lapan, and some companies. I think they are mostly in Bandung. And this is talking about air taxis, which is something I think quite hot in the future. And in this case, it's only for 1 passenger. So the most important and popular applications in Indonesia regarding drones, you can read here. Again, civil engineering and things related to construction are very, very popular. Then checking out power lines and telecommunication lines for inspection, plantation, agriculture, mining, oil and gas, and of course, disaster relief. I think that's about it for today. Thank you for listening to me. And if you got some more questions later on, I'm most happy to try to answer those. Thank you. And I'll give it back to Rusmin. Thanks. Hello.
Thank you very much. Very good presentation. It's very nice to know that exist another types of drones, no? Because always they see only one drone, no, one drone for to joke near the house, no. But I think so that it's for me it's a good experience to know. And planes drones, no?
Exactly.
Planes drones, no? And in your country,
Yes.
Are there a law for to drive a drones?
You mean service companies?
In your country, in your
Yes.
country.
In Indonesia, we do have.
Are there a law for to drive a drones?
Oh, you mean pilots? Drone pilots? Yeah.
Allow.
Yeah, I think there are some, but not many. This is just an evolving and relatively new industry here. So we are really at the beginning. If you're a little bit familiar with Indonesia, it's a very large country. West to east is actually larger than US. We have 5,500 kilometers from west to east with 17,000 islands and 270 million people. So you can see the drone market will be quite significant in that kind of a geography and demography. So I'm quite bullish that the drone industry, for whatever application, will be having a good future in a country like Indonesia.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody else?
No more question. Rasmin. Micro. Rasmin, micro.
Okay, Dr. Ilham, are you still staying with us, or you have another appointment?
No, I have another half hour or so. It's okay. Yeah,
okay, so let's enjoy Thomas Gorski presentation of that. Okay,
thank
Thomas,
you.
the floor is yours.
Hi, Rodman. Thank you very much for the warm introduction. As Rupert just said, we had a fire alarm in the building, so I had to run out, but fortunately it was just a test alarm, so I'm back. And I'm very happy to show you in the next couple of minutes a bit more about drones. And it was very interesting to hear from you, Dr. Ilham, what drones in general could do. I think it was a very, very interesting introduction. You raised a few very good points. So let me share my screen with you. And
did you escape just now? Did you escape by drone, Thomas, from the building?
Pardon?
Did you escape by drone just now from the building?
Not yet. Maybe in the future we will. Are you able to see my screen of the presentation?
Yes, yes. Drones for real estate. Yes.
Very good. So maybe just to introduce myself, I'm Thomas Gorski. I'm the founder of Air Team Aerial Intelligence. We are a drone company, and I will introduce you to the world of drones in real estate and what is possible with it today and what will be possible in the future. As Ilham just mentioned, you read a lot about drones. So there is a lot of news about pizza delivery of drones. It's, in my personal opinion, I'm not so sure if we really need that, but it obviously generates really good PR, and maybe it might be very important for the Americans or so. So let's not judge it. There's, you mentioned, I think for electricity lines, there's even drones that are used as flamethrowers to get rid of either wood or bird's nests or anything that's on these electricity lines. So people got very creative of what you can do with them. I think, as we just heard before, there's pretty much no industry that cannot benefit from drones. And that's also obviously the case for safety and security. There's more and more police departments, fire departments all around the world using drones to get an overview of these critical situations where you need to get an overview where you cannot send in people, but drones can actually deliver you a very good overview. And I think where drones initially started to take off was in the film industry, what used to be huge helicopter setups that were very, very expensive and only used in Hollywood movies. Now, in pretty much every movie that you see or every YouTube video you see, there's drone footage, because it just gives a very spectacular view from the sky, and the cost has come down so much. There's a completely different category of drones. Maybe it's possible if the others are muting their microphone, then
Who is that?
I think that would be easier. Okay, thank you very much. So there's drones, and I think we heard that before, used in terms of logistics. Here you see an example from DHL and micro drones in a cooperation, which can be very useful, especially for either if there are no roads. So there's a company called Zipline doing that in Rwanda, or here in this case, I think it was flying medical equipment to an island close to the German country, onto one of the islands in the Northern Sea. And there's even another category that you will hear a lot in the next couple of years, which is airborne taxis that Ilham just mentioned, which was a fantasy, I think, from science fiction books when I was a kid, and it has become a reality. And there's a lot of players from the US, there's players from Asia, and there's players from Germany. As you can see here on the image is the Volocopter from Bosa, from southern Germany. There's Lilium Aviation from close to Munich. So there's a lot of innovation in that area going on. So you might be confused a bit about drones and what it's all about. Yes. So let's get back to focus on what we're actually going to talk about today. So there's mainly three huge categories, and maybe if we include what Ilham said, that military excluded, that's maybe even a fourth category, but there's kind of what you see on the left-hand side, which is what a lot of people call drones, which are quadcopters or multicopters. Then in the middle and on the right side, you see drones for delivery and urban air mobility, which aren't less interesting for today, but there's a lot of regulations that need to be sorted out, a lot of safety topics. So what happens if some hacker is just taking over the delivery drone from DHL or the urban air taxi? What happens? It has to be absolutely bulletproof. So there's quite some regulations in terms of safety that need to be fulfilled, but the technology is moving ahead very, very far. But for today, we're going to focus on what's going on right now, which is the quadcopters on the left-hand side, which are so the most interesting ones for the real estate industry. So let's take a very quick look about the industry from a bit of a different perspective that we have just seen. And I think mentioned that drones are actually on an explosive growth part in terms of revenue, but also in terms of units sold that we saw in the next couple of years. So I got the question in the chat, which drone is the right one for me, on the chat already. And there is no right or wrong answer. There's pretty much a drone for everyone, depending on where you start. If you start off as a hobbyist or maybe a YouTube blogger or video blogger, you start with a 500 euro hobbyist drone. The DJI Mavic Mini might be a good option. And if you're really into industrial inspection, and the Mercedes M300 on the far right might be the right solution. What we currently see, at least in the areas that we operate, is that the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. As you see, a DJI Mavic Pro 2 for less than $2,000, or a bit more professional setup for surveyors. The Phantom 4 RTK with less than 8,000 euros. This is kind of the sweet spot of drones currently, depending on what you're using. For real estate, I think you can do quite a lot already with a Mavic 2 that has a 20 megapixel camera. You can really do a lot of use cases with them already. So the drone hardware is only one part, and Ilya mentioned there's drone service providers all around the world that focus on different opportunities. As I mentioned, Zipline, for example, they're into delivery. Terra Drone is a global group from Japan. And there's others from Malaysia, the Aerodyne group, and they focus on different use cases. And some of them, they also focus on real estate. And we're going to show you a bit more later. If you are interested actually to leverage drones, what is the things that you're going to look for in terms of hardware, software, and actually operations, what it is. So besides the hardware and the service, there's also the regulations. We mentioned that. And I just picked an example here from Jakarta, where you can see, obviously, you cannot just take your drone up to the sky everywhere. So you need to watch out the regulations. So that's just an overview. So for example, the maximum height in Indonesia, it's 150 meters. You're not allowed to fly over crowds near the airports, which you see in these restricted areas, and you're not allowed to fly at night. But even so, you need to know all these regulations. For real estate, if you have the permission of the house owner, it's pretty easy actually to fly. And we've done several thousand flights, and there was never actually any flight that we could not do. Even 30 meters from the airport here in Berlin, we were able to fly. It just took us a few more days to get the necessary permissions. So this is, you need to look into hardware, software, services, and the regulations to actually operate a drone. So you're probably now interested, yeah, we've heard so much about drones, the hardware, but what is it actually good for? And I'm trying to show you some of the use cases in the next couple of minutes. And there's some video. I hope it's being transmitted well over the video conference. And let's give it a try if that works. So the benefits in general of a drone, it's pretty obvious, but it's the bird's eye view. So everything that you can see from the sky, which is the building envelope, makes total sense. Flying indoors, yes, you can do it, but it's not the most obvious use case. There's other options such as robots that can drive or that can walk, which is, for example, the Boston Dynamics Spot dog that are better suited. But everything that's seen from the sky, that's ideal for drones. And what are the benefits of drones? So it's the time and money savings. It's often a lot easier to use a drone instead of any repetitive task that it might be dull, dangerous to do. You can automate quite a lot. And what we hear later in terms of the data processing, and it really increases safety if you don't have to climb up on houses, don't have to climb up on windmills to get the data that you need. So where can you use it in the building life cycle? As Ilya mentioned, pretty much from the start to the finish. If you start building a new real estate as a project developer, you can use it for visualization, as an architect for the planning. the general contractor to monitor the progress, scaffolding builders to get the data about how high is the building, how much scaffolding you actually need, for the wall and facade builders, for the roofers, and the real estate agents, obviously, to market it, to sell it, and maybe to resell it, and also for the property owners to document it, and also for the insurance. It's a very important tool to get property evaluations fast, secure for all your real estate. So what can you actually do? And let me show a quick video of what you can actually do with drones here. Can you still see my screen, or you still see the presentation?
Yes, you can see that.
So you don't see the video, I assume. Just hold on. Okay. Now you should be able to see my screen. I think, as you can see here in the video, you can beautifully actually put real estate into the best possible scene for it. I know it was a bit slow on the connection, but I hope you still got it. So that's only one use case what you can do with drones. You saw you could even fly with special permissions at night and give the best possible view of how it would be actually to live in that building. Then secondly, you could do virtual reality 3D tours that you can do. On the one hand, you can do that from the outside, and you can do it from the sky. So let me just bring up that example. Just a second. So as you can see here, I think it's just loading up right now. You see a beautiful visualization of the building. So as a property buyer, for example, you could see immediately what are the surroundings, what is actually the infrastructure there. And you could even combine that with images from the inside. So you can create a complete virtual reality tour of the building. So it doesn't matter if I sit in Berlin, if I want to show Rasmin or Raman property, that could be anywhere in the world. And it feels like you're actually in that property, and you can walk through the whole property. And you could do that even in your VR goggles to actually feel in the place you are, and you get the right proportion and see what it will look like. So that's just another use case where drones are extremely handy. Then besides that, you can do 3D visualizations, as you can see here from a beautiful church project. You can visualize that in 3D with extreme detail. You see all the surroundings that could be used for selling it. You could use it for the construction purposes, for the architects to move around completely free within the 3D environment and inspect it and get the best possible idea. So that's so way beyond what Google can offer on satellite or actually on an airplane images. So that's just the next level. So moving on from that, to give you a bit of an example, what the drone actually does for this purpose is it takes images from the sky from very different perspectives and it combines them. So what the drone knows is where the pictures were taken. So it's a bit like the human eye. We have stereoscopic vision, and the brain knows your how far your eyes are from each other. So it's about 5 centimeters, and there you have a depth sense. So the drone does exactly the same. Takes all these images, it knows where they're taken from, and from 2D images, it can reconstruct a 3D model, which is called photogrammetry, which is not a completely new technology, but it has been, due to the power of computers nowadays, it's available to broader audiences. So this data can also be used to create from these digital twins. You can create cut models that you can work with as an architect. You could change anything on this building. You can put in new dormers. You could remove the chimney, whatever you need. You have your data immediately within your CAD software. If this is Autodesk, is this any other software that's available. And with this data, you can work, and it's not just you can look at it just for visualization. You have all the geometric information from it. And this is done with the help of artificial intelligence and computer vision to do a reconstruction of the building geometry. You can also use it, and I think that's a very interesting use case, as Ilham mentioned before, in civil engineering. If you have large projects, you can use it for the construction part, you can use it for the visualization part. It's pretty much as you would be on the site, even if you might be in Indonesia and you have a construction project going on in London, where Rupert sits, or in Berlin, where I'm currently sitting. So you have the opportunity to be virtually on the site and know it. Another example is for solar planning, which I think is taking off more and more in Asia, but also here in Germany, that you have sustainable energy, and you can do all the planning based on the very precise drone data on the 3D model. So you know the yield of the solar panels, you know exactly how many panels you can put there, and it tremendously fastens the whole process and brings down costs. And also for infrastructure planning, for city planning, this is a project that you can see here from Berlin, where they were planning pop-up bike lanes during the Corona pandemic to actually have more space for cyclists, actually, to keep the minimum distance. And we could realize that project within only a couple of days, which in the past took several weeks to map more than 15 kilometers in the city of Berlin here. And also infrastructure in terms of trains, highways, anything that you can imagine, you can map with drones. And also progress monitoring, so you're always aware that you don't only know a project might be in time, behind time, which unfortunately happens quite often in the construction industry, but you're always aware and you can manage it, and in real time actually see how you can counteract possible delays. So you heard now a lot about the use cases, you heard about drone hardware, you heard about software, about services. So what is it actually that you look like if you're searching for a drone solution for yourself? So you might have heard of the term end-to-end solution, which is basically a partner that offers you a solution, if you have no experience whatsoever, that you could immediately use. And that's one solution, for example, that we have built at AirTeam to digitize, inspect, measure properties. And we do that with a network of several hundred drone pilots that we have. Or if somebody is interested and curious to do it themselves, they could also do it themselves. So how does it work? You create a project on the AirTeam Fusion platform. The flight is being done by one of our pilots or by yourself. You upload the data, and then our artificial intelligence starts to work. And in the end, you get the insights that you actually need, whatever it is. As a real estate, could be a measurement report, it could be an image, video, whatever you need, we provide it for you. This is done by our data processing platform. That's one part of our product that's available all around the world, and we can work with any drone more or less if it has the minimum specs. And also, if you don't want to get involved into all the regulations, drone hardware, and you say, I just want the result, you can use the full service that actually a drone pilot is sent, and we acquire the data. And the industries that we currently serve is real estate and construction, which is a very important area for us, but solar is also something we're very passionate about, because we care about sustainable solutions. And that's something that's growing tremendously. And surveying is the last part, what we currently cater for. So what is actually the future? I don't want to let you go out here and say, oh, it's all happening, we've seen it all. No, the industry is also moving forward. And one very interesting concept is from Aerobotics, from an Israeli company that completely automates the drone workflow. So it's, I think in Ilham's terms, as he said, it's level 5 autonomy and flying completely autonomous. And I just, before I waste a lot of words, I'm just gonna show it to you how that actually looks like. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation from today. You learned a bit about drones, about the hardware, about the software, the services, and how you can use it. And I hope we still have some time, and I'm here to answer any questions. And from this, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to Rasmin, Ramon, and also to the great presentation from Ilham beforehand, and also for Leo from PropTech Asia. And I'm very happy to answer any questions from you.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Then we're back to the floor. So yeah, any questions from the audience just now? We have one question about drones price.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. Your speech and your videos are very interesting. But I want one question for I am not a drone driver, but I want to learn. Which is your recommendation for the people want to drive drones?
Yes, I think the first step is to understand what you want to do with it. So if you want to get started, I think the right setup is something like a DJI Mavic Pro 2, as I said, 20 megapixel that sets you back 1,500 euros, which is not that much. And I would go for a solution where you get everything. So somebody, in our case, we sell a complete package with training, including the drone, including accessories. So basically after only 1.5 days, if you're a complete beginner, you know how to fly the drone, you know where you're able to fly the drone, and you can produce amazing results with them. So you're able actually on the second day to really create value from the drone.
Thank you. And also, which platform you recommend for to buy a drones, or recommend buy directly to the providers?
Yes, again, I think it really depends on the use case. So one thing that we've learned over the past several years that we've been in the industry, there's a huge selection. So it can be really easy to be lost in which drone should I buy, which provider, what do you actually need. So we've taken the approach that we actually advise our customers. So we do a free first initial assessment to say, hey, what do you want to do with it? Then we advise them what is the right drone. And then we specifically built like a complete package that's suited for their needs. So of course you can go to Amazon, just buy a drone, but it's not that easy to choose the right setup immediately. And a lot of people have done that in the past, and then the drone just sat in the shelf and was covering with dust actually, because people were like, oh, I don't know where I'm able to fly and I don't know the regulations. So it's, I think, very well to have a partner on your side that you can call anytime and knows what are the regulations. So that's the approach that we are taking, and I would recommend to you.
Okay, I have a house in the mountain, and I think so that it's in a good place to practice, because the airport is far, no problem. But I think so practice in the next month. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Akbar.
We're very happy to train you since COVID-19. We have all our trainings also virtually, so it does not matter if you sit in Spain or Indonesia or in Berlin or in London as Rupert. So that's something that we are used to and we do on an everyday basis.
But Thomas, we can have your mail. If I have a question for to buy a drone, and you can recommend me, it's possible to have
yes, of course.
Your mail.
I just shared my contact details also in the chat, and very happy to take questions or just contact me directly. Very happy to do that.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Ilham Akbar.
Yeah, we have a question about Thomas. We have a question about the drone programming. The drone programming. We are thinking of drone automation and programming. Is it possible today, and how easy is it?
Correct. It depends on the use case. So The question, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was from CI Joe. So feel free to reach out to us. We look into what you actually need. And currently, as we have level 3 autonomy, there's system with level 4 autonomy. So I think it's pretty easy, and we can bring anybody to actually use the drone. It's pretty much you unpack it, you start it, and you're good to go within a bit more than a day. I think that's pretty easy. It's basically like using a toy car, an RC car that you remember from your childhood. It's not much harder, except you have a third dimension, so you have to be a bit worried. But the drone AI systems with camera and sense and avoid, they help you quite a lot.
Yep, Thomas, I would like to ask you from a business perspective. So in Berlin, who are your clients? Are they property developers? Are they property agents? Are they followers? Or who are they?
Yeah, we have a pretty broad range of customers. So I would say about a third of them are coming from the construction industry. So it's general contractors, it's roofers, it's facade inspection that we do. So that's roughly a third. 1/3 is solar companies that actually want to install solar panels. So we do all the measuring for them. We create the 3D model that they can input into their softwares to generate the yield calculation, so they know exactly what are going to be the results. And another third, I would say, is kind of miscellaneous. That's TV productions, marketing, yeah, all different kinds of projects. There's surveying project that's been more and more coming up. And there's also, for example, we did an inspection of our 60-kilometer gas pipeline. So there's a lot of industries, as we've seen before from Ilham, that can benefit from it, that reach out to us. And I think the harder part for us is to say no to some of them. So there's quite a lot of demand that want to take off actually with drones now.
Yeah, we do have a question from Chani Man from Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
Now I use drone for bird view of building, but we cannot measure it. So we have to use the software to measure this building.
Correct. So you can move up from just taking images. You just upload it to our cloud. We do a quick training how to take the images to create a very good 3D model. And then you can upload it to our cloud. Our AI and our algorithm do all the processing. And shortly after, you get a report with all the measurements. You get a complete 3D model that you can use in any of your softwares. If that's a free software such as SketchUp, or in any professional software such as from the Autodesk suite or Revit, whatever your workflow is.
Okay. So, Robert, you have anything to ask?
Well, I'm very interested in Thomas's background, because people might not know that he actually comes from a marketing background with a big consumer company. And that raises the question about the democratization of an industry like this and the open data that goes with it. And I just wondered, between Ilham and Thomas and yourself, Razmin, we could really look at the opportunities for this industry for people to enter it. How do people enter it? And what kind of technical platforms do they need or are being looked at in terms of training programs and really building the whole infrastructure, especially in Indonesia, where there's so much potential, as Ilham mentioned.
Yeah,
yes,
Yes, Thomas, your turn.
Thanks, Rupert, for that. Yeah, for those who might not know me yet so much, I used to work for a large American beverage company, which I guess most of you know, the Coca-Cola company.
Whoa.
And there's a very famous statement that I think Coca-Cola is the kind of icon of democratization, because basically it was said that a Coke is a Coke is a Coke. It doesn't matter if the president of the United States drinks it or a bum on the road, a Coke is a Coke. And for me, that's the same with drones. So we're not building a system that's costing like tens of thousands of euros that's only for the elite or for large corporates. We're building a system that anybody can use, from the pricing point, from the usability perspective, from the regulations perspective. So it should be something that's approachable, something that's also fun, and something that's actually delivering the same great quality every time you use it, which as you can hear, I'm still a big fan of the product Coca-Cola, which I think is great and one of the biggest icons that we have. And that's the same spirit that we want to bring to the drone industry. And I would be looking forward to work with you, Rasmin or Ilham, on that, and to bring it to more parts of the world to make it safer and maybe have a little contribution to make it a better place that we all work in and live in.
Yeah, because it's important because most people think a drone is something like a toy, or drone is only used for the military use, like attacks in the wars, because it was poisoned by Hollywood movies. So you see the drone fly and then with the bomb. Actually, drones has a lot of functions, as Bang Ilham said. A lot of, especially for construction industry, where you can measure, you can anticipate your fault, your error before it's done, before it's too late. So this is the use of the drone. Okay, we will put it. We will send the record and also the link to everyone, and also you have Thomas Gorski email. And also Bang Ilham email. You can ask our expert anytime. He will reply to you. And thank you again for our mi hermano Ramon. By the way, I cannot find Coca-Cola in Spain. I only can find Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. So Bang Ilham, I'm very thankful. We are very thankful.
Oh, you're welcome. Pleasure. It's good to be here.
Yes.
And your presentation, Thomas, was really good. I liked it.
Thomas, Mr. Ilham has the drone industry develop factories to develop drone.
No. We don't produce. We just do services.
Okay.
Services.
We can.
Thomas, don't forget your mail.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas, again. Robert, thank you. We will support your Connect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rasmin. Well done. Well hosted, and great to meet everyone.
For the participation, and see you in the next weeks. Huh?
Okay.
Because the eagles of real estate flying.
Like drones. Okay. So thank you also to Leo Lu. I know that you are very busy now in Hong Kong. It's about 9 something. Okay. Thanks again, and see you with the next webinar. We would like to. Wait. We'll take picture first.
Oh, okay.
Take a group picture. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Juice from